Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the digitized or digitalized Batman Beyond sort of battle damage Batman. Now, I don't fully know if this is a chase figure or not. When I first saw this figure online, I thought it was just a regular variant, but the barcode is identical to the regular Batman Beyond figure, which makes me wonder, it's definitely not a platinum chase figure. There's a bunch more on eBay and secondary markets than the platinum figures. If anyone really knows the answer, drop me a line in the comments below. I'm extremely curious. Shout out to my boy Corey. He's a local collector that picked this up for me. It's a little bit beat up, but that's fine. This is one I'm going to open. I will track down another one to keep my unopened collection in the near future. So Batman Beyond is a futuristic show with Terry McGinnis as Batman. Sort of cyber-ish future, and that's why he has this sort of digital look to him. Doesn't really make sense to me. It's kind of like acid trip battle damage Batman, but it's still pretty cool. My buddy picked this up for me at Walmart, but I've also read reports online of these being found at Target, so it's not an exclusive to any specific store. So let's check out the packaging here. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts. McFarlane Toys got the Spawn logo there. You can see it's a little bit beat up at the top, but like I said before, I'm going to be opening this, that's fine. Ages 12 plus. DC Multiverse, Batman Beyond. In the package, he's got a pair of alternate hands, a batarang, and then some flame exhaust for the bottom of his rocket boots. One side says Batman Beyond, other side also says Batman Beyond. The bottom, bunch of credits, and there is a barcode in case it helps anybody. Like I said before, this is the exact same barcode for the standard Batman Beyond figure. On the back side, you can see Batman Beyond gliding through the city, and here are a bunch of other recent release McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And here he is, next to the standard release of the Batman Beyond figure. Like I said before, identical barcodes. And here he is, next to the Target exclusive Batman Beyond Build-A-Figure Joker robot from Future's End. And the entire McFarlane Batman Beyond collection, at least of Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond figures. Betcha anything there's an unmasked Batman Beyond around the corner. Alright. Now that I've got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He does come with a flight stand, a collector's card, 2 alternate hands totaling 4 interchangeable hands, some exhaust and flames for the rockets in his feet, and he also has a batarang. But before we take a look at the accessories, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Terry McGinnis as Batman from Batman Beyond, and this is I've seen it referred to as a digitized or digitalized or battle damage version. I don't really know why this exists, but the aesthetic does fit the theme of Batman Beyond. Sort of computerized, sort of pixelated. So let's take a look at him. As you can see in his face here, he's got a bunch of black, a bunch of gray, a bunch of red. Even his bat symbol here is interrupted. It's a pretty cool effect. At first glance, I thought his mouth was open and he was screaming, but that's just some red paint down there. He does look cool, but not practical at all. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, looks to be the exact same sculpt as a single release Batman Beyond. He's got the wings that are permanently attached, but if you heat them up you can't remove them. Just a pretty crazy looking variant. And just a closer look at his face, it's a very nice head sculpt, but a very odd paint job. And then, here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start off with the stand. Now let's take a look at his stand. It comes in 2 separate pieces. When put together, looks about like this. It's got a perfect circle, transparent base, says DC on it. Then it's got this post going up at the top here. Can rotate, it's hinged, as well as rotating. It also has a clamp here to hold your figure. And just an example of the stand holding this Batman. Now let's take a look at his collector's card. As you can see, we've got Batman posed up here, flying in the skies of Gotham, Batman Beyond. There is a description on the back. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Here's his collector's card next to the standard version of Batman Beyond's collector's card on the right. They are 100% identical. not even a different board or anything. And here it is, next to the Target exclusive Build-A-Figure Joker Robot Batman Beyond Collector's card. Now let's look at his hands. He's got a total of 4 of them. 2 of them have his claws out, and 2 of them are standard gripping hands. I notice the claw hands are the only ones that have any of the digitalized effects on them. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his claw-like hands. In the show, he could sort of pull some claws out if he needed to, say he was falling and needed to catch himself, or if he had to sort of cut through something. And here he is with his other pair of hands. These are his standard gripping hands. Now we have these flame effects. These are pretty cool. These are going to attach to the bottom of his feet via a peg at the top into the peg hole in his feet. They're made of a semi-transparent material, kind of orange at the top, goes down to red at the bottom. This is going to be really cool for him when the flight stand, and it's probably going to work for some other figures as well. And here are his exhaust accessories compared to some other exhaust accessories that I can use for my Batman figures. These came with this Batman Beyond, these came with a Justice League basic Batman figure, and these came with the Mezco Batman Beyond. All 3 of these fit into the peg holes on his feet and work fantastic. And like I said before, they're going to attach to the bottom of his feet. You've got 2 of these different flames here, and at the bottom of his feet, the peg will go into here, and he's got a little hole where the flame will be coming out. Here's how he's going to look with his wings out on the flight stand and the flames coming out of his feet. Now let's look at his Batarang. This is not show accurate. It's not the kind of Batarang he used in the show, but it definitely fits him visually. Kind of looks like the logo on his chest. It is sort of the Batman Beyond logo. A little bit of give there. It's made of a pretty hard plastic. Nothing too spectacular here. Probably look good for a Batwoman as well. Here's his Batarang. Next to the Batarangs that came with the Build-A-Figure version, those Batarangs are the screen accurate kind. Like I said before, you have to get both figures to have all the accessories you'd want. McFarlane's pretty much forced you to double dip. Here are all the different Batman Beyond style Batarangs that I have. These come from Kenner, Mezco, McFarlane, DC Direct, and Mattel. Here's Terry holding and getting ready to throw the Batarang. And while they're not exactly accessories, let's check out the wings. Nothing too fancy here. They're pretty basic. They have rotation. They can come up. They got these little holes here that you can put the gauntlet fins into to hold them in place. Now, upon first glance, they are not removable. They are permanently attached to his back. But as I found out with my last Batman Beyond figure, you can heat them up and pop them out pretty easily. It would have been nice if they were removable, but just the way it is. So I brought some water to a boil, dipped them in there, and I was able to remove the wings with complete ease. He's got this hole in his back which looks absolutely hideous, but from the front, it's not too bad. I don't like the fact that he had his wings on all the time. In the show, he'd only pull his wings out when he's flying. When he's sitting in the Batcave or walking around, they would be completely gone. Here are all the different Batman Beyond wings I've accumulated over the years. They are all removable, except McFarlane. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's standing at about 6.9 inches tall, which can translate to about 17.5 centimeters. And if you go to the top of the ears, about 7.3 inches tall. Now let's look at his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, you can rotate from side to side. You can look up about that far, down about that far. Can tilt his head from one side to the other, give him a good amount of personality. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out more than 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He does have butterfly joints between the shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion there. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows below that. His wrist here, it's got a ball in it, it can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. Double ball joint in his torso waist, rotate around, go forward and back. His waist can also rotate around, go forward and back, giving him a very wide range of motion in his torso. His legs do the splits, go out that far. Not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. Rotation, it's not too bad. Legs go forward about that far. Back, not too much. Double jointed knees. Then his ankle here, it's got a ball in it. Go forward and back. Can rotate. Can tilt and rock a little bit. And he's got toe articulation. And I wanted to compare him to the other two releases, McFarlane Batman Beyond figures, to see if there were any other differences besides simply the paint. So this is the Target exclusive Build-A-Figure Batman Beyond. He's got no mouth. This is the variant of the single release Batman Beyond without the Build-A-Figure pieces. And this is the standard version of the single release Batman Beyond. This guy has a different head with a mouth on it. Now these are exactly the same figures. In fact, all three of these are 100% the same body, just a little bit of a different paint job. What I did find interesting was this guy here. He's using the head of this guy here without the mouth on it. Just a bit of useless information. Now could you imagine the variants they could make for Batman Beyond? I could see them doing an unmasked version, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get that. I could see them doing a transparent cloaked version. I could see them doing a gold version. They could even, if they really wanted to stretch it, do a version with an old man Bruce Wayne head on there, even though this body is far too slim for that. Here's this Batman in front of the Batman Beyond Batmobile. This Batmobile is for a smaller scale, 5-inch scale old Kenner figures, but it still looks pretty cool as a background piece. And for some reason, this digitized Batman Beyond, I just think it looks really cool in front of this Batmobile. Here's the regular Batman Beyond Batman getting out of the Batmobile. He has a lead that shrieks in the nearby area. Batman spots Shriek and knows there's only one reason he'd be down here, crumbling buildings for the highest bidder. He screams at him, "Stop!" Of course, Shriek doesn't listen, causing Batman to throw his Batarang. He hits Shriek and knocks him down, and they begin to fight. Shriek starts using his Soundwave device and gets the upper hand against Batman. Batman's suit starts going crazy. Batman is nearly incapacitated at this point. He is able to sneak one of his hands down while Shriek's not looking and activate the remote on his belt. And you can see the Batmobile approaching right behind Shriek. Shriek is now knocked out. Terry McGinnis is starting to recover, starts to get back up. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures. Starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the standard release of this Batman Beyond Batman. And here he is, next to the Target exclusive Batman Beyond version. This one came with part of the Joker robot. And here are all the Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond figures McFarlane has made so far. Like I said before, I think there are plenty more variations they could mine from this mold. We'll see what the future brings. And here are all the figures from the Batman Beyond universe McFarlane has made. The next one is going to be Batwoman from Batman Beyond, and then Blight. Hopefully they'll keep trickling more out after that. Terry McGinnis is a Batman that's not Bruce Wayne in the costume, and it's not the first time they've done that. Here he is next to a couple of other non-Bruce Wayne Batman figures. On the left, we've got Thomas Wayne as Flashpoint Batman, and on the right, we've got Jean-Paul Valley as Azrael in the Batman armor. Then, next to several Bruce Wayne as Batman figures. And here he is, next to some other Batman supporting characters and allies. And then, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Now let's check him out, next to some other Batman Beyond figures. Here he is, with the other McFarlane DC Multiverse, Terry McGinnis as Batman Beyond. Then, next to my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Batman Beyond figures. And here, next to my Mattel Batman Beyond figures. Then, next to a Mezco Batman Beyond figure. Here's my entire collection of 6 and 7-inch Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond figures. I believe at this point I have all of them. Now let's check them out, next to some other Batman Beyond supporting characters. Some of these are customs, some of these are actual releases. Here he is with a custom-made Terry McGinnis in civilian attire, as well as his friend, Max Gibson. And here, next to a DC Direct Old Man Bruce Wayne and Ace the Bat-Hound. Here he is with a custom Spellbinder. Then, next to an older custom of Shriek. And here, next to a custom of Kirari. Here he is next to the gang of Jokers from Batman Beyond Return of the Jokers. I was always sort of intrigued by this crazy gang of Joker thugs. Here are some other figures that sort of fit the futuristic Batman Beyond vibe. These are some McFarlane Cyberpunk 77 figures. They have that future, sort of cyber look to them. Then with some NECA, Blade Runner figures. These also have the futuristic Batman Beyond type feel. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. Here he is with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then with some more McFarlane Toys. These ones are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jakks Pacific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here, with some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 cloth soft goods action figures. Then, next to some Mattel, DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here, next to some Mafex figures. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's an interesting variation on a pretty cool figure, but it definitely doesn't seem necessary. This guy's sculpt and paint job are excellent, no issues there. The accessories are pretty cool. The blast effects for his feet, the batarang, the flight stand, it's all good stuff. His articulation is everything you'd expect from a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. If I had to rate this guy, probably going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. He's a very cool figure, but is it necessary? Not really. I don't know what the point of this guy is, but he's a pretty visually cool looking variant. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.